Hi, my name is Chris Kusnerick and I'm the Athletic Director here at McCluer North High School, and welcome to our McCluer North High School parent meeting. Our contact information is now, you can now see. If you need to get hold of the athletic department, you can contact myself either by email or phone, as well as our athletic department secretary, Miss Melissa Moore, and her information is also displayed here as far as our contact information for the athletic department. Feel free to contact us with any questions or any concerns that you might have. We also are very beneficial in the sense that we have an athletic trainer that is assigned to our building from Athletic Care. This year is Miss Shalise Mitchell, and her information is also here. A good way to get hold of her is by email. She's pretty busy, obviously, with taking care of our student athletes throughout the time that she's here during the day. She's typically here from about 2 to 6, and definitely email would be a good way to get a hold of her. If your particular student has an issue, an injury, or needs to be seen by her, she'll definitely be in communication with you throughout the time period, during the injury rehabilitation or return to play, those type of things. And so Ms. Shalise Mitchell, like I said, we're very happy to have her part of our department, and she's extremely helpful and will be, and once again assigned by Athletic Care. Our athletic department does have an athletic department website. This is a great location for you to gain information, whether it be roster information, schedules, traveling directions, other information. And so I would definitely mark that on your computer or on your phone. We also have an athletic department Twitter account that we use basically daily to highlight the successes of our teams and update with scores and schedules and changes and cancellations. That'd be another thing to refer to. And then McCluer North High School also has a Facebook page, which also is another way to gain more information about some of our student athletes. The website, though, is probably the best place. It's done very well. We're very fortunate that we have it through a company called Schedule Star that provides the format, and this is updated daily too. So it's a great opportunity to see, like I said, schedules, rosters, directions, etc. And so I would definitely use that. You also can sign up to receive updates from when changes are made or when there are cancellations. There's a lot of other additional information in terms of physical forms, other files, preparing yourself to play at the next level, colleges, NCAA requirements, etc. And so the athletic website is something that you would definitely get a lot of benefit from. Here at McCluer North High School, we have quite a few of our athletic teams that do have their own Twitter accounts. And so here you can see from this list here, there are quite a few of the programs that do have that. It's a great opportunity for you to follow your son or daughter's team throughout the year, and some of our coaches do an excellent job with their Twitter accounts. We are governed here at McCluer North High School by an organization which is called MSHSAA, and it stands for the Missouri High School Athletic Association. They've got various policies and bylaws that we have to adhere to. We are one of the 700 and some schools that are a part of the MSHSAA organization here in the state of Missouri. And so just like we have guidelines here at McCluer North High School as well as in the Ferguson-Florissant School District, we also have guidelines that MSHSAA has to we have to adhere to through MSHSAA. There are certain standards. Some of these standards deal with academic eligibility, residency, transferring, age requirements, playing outside your sport, summertime participation, and so a lot of different standards that come into play with MSHSAA. There is a brochure that's loaded on our website every year that gives you kind of a little synopsis and update of some of the changes that MSHSAA has from year to year. Sometimes if you go to the MSHSAA website, it's a little bit more cumbersome. Any questions related to MSHSAA, please direct those through our office and we'll be happy to help you. One of the big things that here at McCluer North High School, as well as with MSHSAA, is our students being a student athlete, and with student being the emphasis here. We have certain eligibility requirements that our students have to adhere to. Very first thing, and this is actually a MSHSAA requirement, is a student has to pass 6 classes the previous semester. So for instance, in the fall, they have to pass 6 classes to be eligible in the spring. That's the very first thing. Same thing with participating in the fall, 6 classes in the spring, and then they can take summer school to help in that area. But either way, they have to pass 6 classes. Second thing is once we get in season and a student is a part of a rostered team, then we do check their eligibility within the season itself. We expect them to be passing 6 classes during a week during the particular seasons. We will do a grade check. The very first grade check will be done. We will run the list on a Tuesday. The grades will be frozen at midnight on a Monday. So any grades turned in after midnight will not count, or if the teacher updates their grade book. We'll run that list. We will share those athletes that are not passing 6 classes. They will receive a warning letter. That letter will also be sent home to the parents both by mail as well as email. We'll do another 2-week check 2 weeks later. Once again, if a student is not passing 6 classes, then they'll be considered to be put on probation. During the probation period, they are required to then attend study hall and tutoring. During this entire time, whether they're on probation or receiving a warning letter, they can play in the games, they can attend practices, they're still a part of the team. Where it comes into play where they might lose the playing time is if after those 4 weeks, we'll wait another week, we'll do another check after the fifth week. If they're still not passing at least 6 classes, then they will become ineligible, and that'll be on a week-to-week basis. Once again, the student will be notified, the parent will be notified, and so for the most part, it's they would have to be not passing at least 6 classes for 5 straight weeks in season. All right. Coaches can institute a higher standard. Once again, as long as the coaches notify the parents and the athletes before the season starts, that's entirely up to them. If a student is ineligible, they can practice, they can attend the games, they just cannot dress out in uniform. And so until they get those grades up, they have to, once again, they're not able to participate in the particular sport during that particular week. So depending on how the week falls, it could be multiple games or it could be no games. But the biggest thing to remember here is we will expect our student athletes to do well academically. This is going to be for their benefit in the long run, and we expect them to be passing at least 6 classes a week inside the season. Also, with MSHSAA, participation in extracurricular activities here at McCluer North High School is a privilege. And so that privilege, it is not a right, it is a privilege. It can be taken away. We expect our student athletes to exemplify good sportsmanship, both on and off the field, and it's the same thing with personal conduct. This is a MSHSAA policy and also something that Ferguson Florissant also adheres to here. And so students that represent their school in the scholastic activities must be credible citizens. And so this is something that's very, very important. This is something that could affect their playing time or even their participation with their athletic team. And so that's something you got to keep in mind. When a student goes out for the team, they will sign a code of conduct. Part of that, by signing that code of conduct, they agree to these particular policies. One of the other things to keep in mind too is this is a policy that is 24/7, 365 days a year. So if a student athlete gets themselves in some trouble, out of season, maybe in July, or maybe if they're a fall sport, maybe it's something that occurs in the spring, this could still affect their participation the following year. The most important thing to do is if a student athlete does get himself in some type of trouble, that they let their coach know, they let the athletic department know. And so non-school time is still a factor. It's not just within our building and not just during the school day. It is the student's responsibility to notify their coach as well as the athletic department if a situation arises. Best thing to do is to be upfront and to cooperate. But once again, we expect our student athletes to do well academically, and we also expect them to be good citizens inside our community. Some of our sports are cut sports. We do have a tryout process here and procedure that we do follow here at McCluer North High School. Very first thing is a student athlete needs a physical. We only accept the MSHSAA form. This form can be downloaded from our website or it can be picked up in our office. You can go to your own personal doctor, you can go to a chiropractor. We do have a doctor that will come in and provide physicals once per season for a very small cost. You can use his services if you'd like to. But either way, no matter where you get your physical, it has to be done on that form. That's the only form that we accept. It has to be completed completely and filled out, or we will not accept it. You also have to have insurance. Your insurance is required by MSHSAA as well as Ferguson Florissant School District. If you do not have insurance, we do have a company that Ferguson Florissant partners with that you can get a low-cost insurance for your student athlete for that particular season. And then also you have to sign the athletic code, which is included with the packet. Once all this information is filled out, by the doctor and by you, you can turn that information into Ms. Moore or myself here in the athletic department office. Keep in mind, physicals have to be renewed every year. The physical is only valid if it's after February 1st of the initial school year. So for instance, this year it was February 1st to 2018. Once all your information is turned in and is collected by us, you'll be giving an admit card which allows you to try out. Various colors will be used to distinguish the sports and the seasons. That information, we will keep your physical here on file. That card then will be given to your student athlete. He will give that to his or her coach. When the coach receives that, then that lets the coaches know that your student athlete is cleared to try out and play that particular sport. At no time should the coaches be accepting any of the physical forms or any of the necessary paperwork. We only run that through our office. If it is a cut sport, they must have at least 2 days of tryouts. A lot of our sports will have 3, 4, multiple days of tryouts. We do have some non-cut sports here, but either way, you have to have that admit card to be able to practice or participate in that activity. We also follow the Ferguson fluorescent weather guidelines when it comes to heat or severe weather. Those also are loaded up on our website, and that's something our athletic trainers, as well as myself, monitors, especially in the warm weather months of, say, possibly of May, but especially like in August and September. Also keep in mind that some of our sports have multiple levels. So we'll have a freshman level, a JV level, and varsity level. So no matter what your interest is, there's a lot of opportunity for student athletes to get involved here. A couple other department guidelines. If a student athlete does get an OSS, so an out-of-school suspension, they're not allowed to attend practices or games. And so that's something to keep in mind. If they get an OSS on a Friday, that means it would wipe out the weekend. That is a MSHSAA policy. A student has to be in attendance at school to be able to participate in the activity on that particular day. If they get an in-school suspension, they can participate in practices. Keep in mind, various sports will have equipment that will be distributed, uniforms, etc. It's your son or daughter's responsibility to keep track of that equipment, keep it in good shape, and turn it in at the end of the year. If for some reason it's lost or ruined, damaged in some sort, you'll be expected to repurchase that items, and fines will be assessed. So that's something to keep in mind. Concussions are a big and hot topic here across our country right now. We do follow the return to play and concussion protocol that MSHSAA and the National Federation of High School Sports adheres to. Ms. Alicia Mitchell, our trainer, will be the one that will walk you through that. And so it is something we take very, very seriously, and it's something that we make sure that our student athletes are good to go and cleared before they are back out on the fields or the courts. Keep in mind, during the season, you cannot practice or participate with a non-school team during the season. So for instance, if you like to play club volleyball or AAU basketball, you cannot play with those particular teams during basketball season or volleyball season. Obviously, outside the high school season, yes, but in season, no. You also can only attend one camp or clinic or group session during your season. So for instance, a baseball player, wants to go to a clinic out in Arizona over spring break after baseball season has started. He's allowed to do that one time and only once during the season, as long as there's no competition involved. So it'd be just entirely instructional. A lot of times these things don't occur during the season, but it's just something to keep in mind so we don't affect the eligibility of your student athlete. A couple other things from the athletic department. Students we expect to be in school on the day of a contest or practice. We hope that they are in school, and we expect them to be in school by 11 a.m. to be able to participate. Now keep in mind, if there's an excused absence, maybe there's a funeral, maybe there's an ortho appointment or a doctor's appointment that's scheduled, that would be an excused absence. But we expect our student athletes to be in attendance to be able to participate. We also encourage our student athletes to lock their stuff up, security of their necessary belongings. If they use the locker rooms, it's very, very important. If they do ride the activity bus, we do provide an activity bus at 5:15 on most days. We don't have an activity bus on when we have an early out, such as a 10:30 day or a no school day. But we expect those student athletes to behave and do what's right, if they're on that particular bus. And the same thing, waiting for that bus, before practice and after practice behavior. Big thing to remember is our student athletes need to be aware that they're representing McCluer North High School 24/7, 365 days a year. So social media is a hot topic right now. When it comes to Twitter and Facebook and Snapchat, etc. They have to keep that in mind. Here with the athletic department, it's something I have been stressing quite a bit to our student athletes has been social media. And there are lots of cases, and it seems like there are cases that turn up every day and every week when it comes to some of the student athletes really across the country, whether it be at the high school level, collegiate level, even the athletes at the professional level, with the misuse and not representing themselves in the highest manner, with the use of social media. Unfortunately, more and more college coaches are looking at these type of things. More and more professional teams are looking at these type of things, and it's costing student athletes scholarships money. It's possibly costing people money when we're talking about the professional level. These are things that are very, very important. And I know we're dealing with kids, but we stress to them that they need to make sure that they're being very, very smart in what they post. Because once it's out there, as we all know, it is out there. I know Twitter now has increased the number of characters, but I saw a great quote a couple years ago from a coach where he said, never let a 140 character tweet cost you a $140,000 scholarship. And that's what some of these scholarships are to some of these particular universities, because more and more universities are taking a look at this. Some of these larger programs at the collegiate level literally have managers and graduate assistants that will go and look at the recruits' Twitter, look at their Facebook, and will track and look at this stuff every day. There are more and more cases occurring where people are being dropped from being recruited because of their social media. Here's an example of something from SMU where you can see that they're recording this particular information. Biggest thing that our students need to remember is they're students first, and that I know they all want to play at the next level, and we'll be here to help them as much as possible, but they've got to take care of business, both in the classroom as well as away from the court. That's something that's very, very important. With the NCAA, there are restrictions, there are requirements there, and the academic requirements are quite high. Right here is the list of the requirements to become qualified for the NCAA level. Biggest thing you need to remember there is 16 core courses and 2.3 GPA. Now, when I talk about core courses, I'm talking about science, your math, your foreign language, your English. Those are the ones you want to do very, very well, and you want your student, your son or daughter, to do very well in. Unfortunately, if you take a PE class or an art class or a consumer ed class or a music class, the NCAA does not look at those grades, so those grades don't count. It's only in those core classes. So you've got to at least get at least 16 of those. 10 of those have to be completed by the beginning of your senior year. And then that 2.3 grade point average, that is only determined from those particular core classes. They do use a sliding scale when they match it up with the ACT, so the higher the GPA you have, the lower the ACT score you can get by with, though there is a minimum with the ACT. And then once again, the higher the ACT, the lower the GPA. All this information is found on our website. You also can talk to your counselor or myself if you have any questions at all. Keep in mind the NAIA, which is another level that does provide scholarships, they also have restrictions too. They also have a website. Both with the NCAA and the NAIA, if you're interested in playing at those particular levels, at least on the Division I and Division II level on the NCAA and the NAIA level, you must register with their website. If you're interested in the Division III level in the NCAA, then that's up to the individual school whether they want to admit you or not in that particular situation. Parent correspondence is very, very important to us. It's something that we take very, very seriously. If you have an opportunity that you would like to take advantage by talking to a coach, or we have a particular guideline that we go through, this brochure is located on our website. We'd like you to follow this and go through the process. So we kind of have a chain of command. So we'd like you to talk to the coach first of the level your son or daughter, maybe possibly the issue is, and then work your way up. Preferably, if we really, really had a choice, we'd like the student athlete to talk to the coach and take ownership, if there's a particular situation. But either way, please refer to this brochure. This is something that's very, very important that I think will be helpful in maybe answering some of the questions that you have here. Hazing is another situation that you hear from time to time throughout the country. We take this also very, very seriously, and it's something that we do not condone or approve of. If you feel there's any type of situation that's leaning in this way, please contact us immediately. We will involve the authorities if we have to, because it is against the law here in the state of Missouri. But it is something we definitely do not approve of or condone. Each season we will provide the opportunity to have pictures taken through Wagner Portrait Group, who does a very nice job in helping us out. We'll set that up through the athletic department. We'll do obviously that once per season. The coaches will have the forms where you can order the pictures, and then that picture will also be uploaded to our website. At the end of the season, if your student finishes out the year, we do have awards and we do have guidelines. These are the list of the guidelines when it comes to the awards, and so depending on the level you're at as well as your age will determine what you will get. And so it's a progressive thing when it comes to your numerals, your JV letter, varsity letter, etc., and bars, captain stars, etc. But you can refer to this slide right here and help you in understanding that. McCluer North High School is a member of the Suburban Conference. We had some major changes that occurred in 1819 when it came to the Suburban Conference. We're so used to always the old Suburban North and the teams that we're used to playing. That now has changed. Now the Suburban Conference has decided to go to a pool system, and so there's various pools for the various programs. Different teams in the pools, and so it's a situation where we will be playing a lot more different teams than we have in the past. These will be adjusted every 2 years and reevaluated by the ADs and the Suburban Conference. The whole intent of this was to try to provide some equity when it comes to scheduling, transportation, level of play, competition, etc. And so it'll be something that will be adjusted from time to time. But that is something that you can definitely keep in mind with that. Sportsmanship obviously is something that is extremely important to us. And you know, the MSHSAA policy is something we adhere to quite a bit, and that is let the coaches coach, let the players play, let the officials officiate. Everyone has a role in the athletic contest, and so we don't want our fans trying to officiate or coach, just like we don't want our players trying to officiate or coach neither. Everyone has a role, and so it's important that you adhere to that if at all possible. The last thing I'd like to stress too is we also emphasize we want like our student athletes to be multi-sport athletes. We have a lot of great opportunities for students to be involved in multiple sports, and so it's a situation where, you know, we want well-rounded student athletes here, both academically as well as athletically. This video I'd like you to watch at this particular time will be a good video. It kind of puts things in perspective, I think, for our students as well as more especially for our parents. And so if you get an opportunity, you know, please watch this video. Once again, I appreciate your time. As I mentioned before, if you have any questions whatsoever, please contact our office either by phone or email. Please refer to our website. A lot of the questions that you might have that might come up are readily available on our website. And once again, we hope your son or daughter has a great experience here at McCluer North High School. Go Stars!